Hello, YouTube. We are back with another class guide, and this time we're looking at Minstrel. This was another requested class, and to help kind of speed up the release of these guides before the next update for the legendary servers, what I'm going to be doing is showcasing some classes at a higher level rather than you guys waiting for me to level them up on the legendary servers. I'm just going to showcase some classes at a higher level, but show them in that this is how many trade points you'll have at this level. This is what your legendary weapons will look like at this level, because, of course, as we level up, we have access to more trait points and legendary item traceries and stuff like that. So, though the stats won't match your the level cap, right? We don't have 36,000 health at level 65. That would be nice, but we don't have it. The trait points and legendary items will match. So we're going to be doing this for Minstrel, Warden, Burglar, and Runekeeper, and then that'll just leave off 3 other classes that I have to level up, which I've never played before, so I just don't have them. So that being Bear, Brawler, and Mariner, which are the 3 newest classes. Alright, so getting into... Actually, before we do that, Minstrel is going to get a little bit complicated when it comes to trait setups and legendary items, because it's one of those classes that has the universal spec where it has red line and blue line damage and healing, but its yellow line can be used in either of those 2 specs. So as we break down trait setups and legendary items, it's going to get a little bit complicated. So it's not necessarily going to be broken down the same way as, all right, red line this way, blue line this way. There's going to be a lot of overlap, so just be prepared for that. It won't be as organized as it normally is. Alrighty, starting with virtues. As always, no matter what line or class, you're generally going to be picking the 5 main health or morale-based virtues. So, fidelity, fortitude, honor, justice, and loyalty. There can be an argument made in certain circumstances where idealism is really good because of the incoming healing, where it's going to help your right in a panic situation and you need to do a lot of healing. All of your AoE heals will heal you more, so you don't have to worry about yourself as much as the rest of the group. There can be an argument made for that. It still has a little bit of morale, and then the fate just helps your power, but the fate isn't totally useful. So there can be an argument made for idealism if that's something that you want to consider. Discipline also has incoming healing, but it just doesn't have the morale, which is a little bit more important. And I'm pretty sure that's the only one with those 2 are the only ones with incoming healing, if I understand it correctly. Loyalty already does, but it's a little bit lower. Yeah. So if you wanted to get rid of justice or loyalty, you could put in idealism. It can be a good secondary one. Finesse is always good, right? Wit later on, just helping with whether you're red line doing damage or you're in your yellow line-ish spec and you're trying to do debuffs and stuff like that. And a little bit of damage, wit can be helpful, but ideally, as always, it's just those standard 5 because we need the morale. All right, starting off with red line. This is a nice, simple setup, getting the most important things that we need and working our way down into yellow. Stopping at all of trades just for that tactical damage, which is really massive. And then we kind of have like 3 points left over, so to speak, and I just put them into the morale for now. You could move down further, right? So you could give yourself either more tactical mastery if you really needed it, or you could do Anthem, and then damaging skills. No, you, and then you're kind of stuck with like you could do Coda improvement, piercing cry. You could improve your Herald strike just to, or just pick like Inspired Fellows or something just to get a little bit further in the tree, so that you can then kind of work our way down. But really you only have the 3 points, so it's like, okay, I could get Anthem of Prowess, and then I guess 2 points into improved strikes for Herald or the Tactical Mastery. But to me, the health was more important, so that's why I just went into the morale. It's not, to be clear again, because of the level, it shows plus 2,000 morale. It's not plus 2,000 morale at 65. It's not that much. It looks like a lot, but it's not that much. It's still good for 65. It's just, don't freak out. You're like, oh my god, it's 2,000 morale. No, it's not. It's not an extra 2,000 morale. That would be insane. But yeah, so that's a nice, easy yellow or a red setup. And then for legendary items, for red, nope, not that one. Protector of Song? No, it is Warrior. Oh, yeah. Let me just pull up my spreadsheet here. Actually, wait, I don't think we... Oh, no. So, yeah, we want Call of Fate and Call of Aurum. And you want to put these two on the same weapon. So, like, put these two on your actual weapon. Okay, and I'll get into why later. But you want to put these two on the same thing. And then we want, under general damage, we'll want Piercing Cry, and then do minor ballad damage. And put those two on the same item. So you can put these two on, or put these two on your weapon, and then put the other two on your book. And we'll get into why with those later. But then, of course, for DPS, you're going to want the Heroic Precision. You want 2 of those for the crit chance. You could actually also do... this is one of the few classes that actually benefits from light damage. So we don't showcase this one a whole lot. Where is it? Is it perfect? No, Ascendant Light. So you could also do Ascendant Light, which gives you crit rating rather than the crit percent, and the 2% or the 2 set bonus for Ascendant Light is actually light damage, which that can also be really good. This gets a little bit tricky when we talk about our other weapons, but for pure red line, Ascendant Light is better. But when we start doing some mixing and matching that we'll discuss, Heroic Precision might have some more value, but we'll get to that when we get there. And then you'll just want your either Eagle for more will. You can do, is it Owl? Yeah, I guess Owl will give you more vitality. Just it's the outgoing healing instead of the Tactical Mastery. You could also do Sparrow for more vitality and crit. But if you want that will and Tactical Mastery, Eagle is the way to go. You would do 2 of those. And then you would want your standard single target attack damage and single target attack crit. All right, moving into blue line. So this is what our trait setup would look like for blue line. If you wanted to, you could I put some points moving down again to start moving down into all trades. You could remove these points and put them into Inspiring Finish if you really wanted to, or moving a couple other points around. But I think increasing Inspire Fellows is a must-have, and then start moving into Evolve Trades to get that Outgoing Healing modifier is just really good. You could, if you wanted to, take out healing from like Razor Spirits or Bolster Courage to get this healing, because this is overall healing, where these two are just for specific skills. So that's something else you can do. But essentially, at this point, we're now going to be moving further into yellow and getting into Cult to Greatness. All right, legendaries for blue line. So on the same weapon, you will want Soliloquy of Spirit Healing, and then you will want hold on. And then you'll want Hammerhand Bubble Magnitude, right? So this buffs are Gift of the Hammerhand and Song of the Hammerhand and our Legend of Hammerhand. You want to buff those skills, and you want to put this tracery on the same item as your Song of Soliloquy or Soliloquy of Spirit Healing, right? And that's right our main like spammable skill. You want to put those two on your weapon, and then put these next two, which would be is it general utility? No. Inspire Fellows and Major Ballad Healing. Put those two on separately. So put those two, let's say, on your book. Right, we put the other two on the weapon and the other two on the book. Okay, and then the rest, so we would want our Word of Craft, where is it? Perfect Healing, right? Outgoing Healing modifier. Owl for Outgoing Healing. And then we would want our it should be single target healing and single target healing crit would be your Words of Power. All right. Now the tricky thing with yellow. So you can't technically spec into yellow necessarily, right? What you have to do is spec into blue or red and then put the majority of points into yellow. Because Minstrel is one of those classes where their yellow line is universal, and both specs can access it for essentially for free, right? So even though I'm in red line, I can put spending 1 point equals 1. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, right? But because I'm in red, if I was to go into blue, it would actually cost me 2 points to get 1 point, right? 30, 28, 26, 24, 34, 33, 32, 31, right? So that's what makes yellow special. However, the tricky thing at this level cap is that the whole point of yellow line is this anthem swapping, where we have extended anthems, we have our strongest anthems, we have our stronger abilities, right? And we also want Call to Greatness. This is basically the whole, aside from anthem swapping and swapping between our different anthems, right? Of and prowess and free peoples, right? Dissonance, just in helping our raid with all their damage buffs and maintaining all these different anthems as much as we can. the whole point is of yellow. There's the second point to yellow is this call to greatness, which is this reset ability. So as you can see, when we use this ability, the cooldown of all these skills for all these different classes get reset. And this is a raid-wide effect. So this isn't just for your 6 party members, including yourself. This is for all 12 members of the raid. So to reset the ability of all 12 members is massive. And this is the whole point of yellow. But at this yellow cap, in order to get to this point, we essentially have to spend all of our points. We only have 7 points left after getting to this point. So you don't want to start in red and then move into yellow, or start in blue and then move into yellow. If you want these skills down here, you have to start in yellow, get all the way down to the bottom, and then spend your remaining points elsewhere. And what's eventually going to happen, right? So right now you can be a red focused yellow minstrel or a blue focused yellow minstrel, depending on the class that the spec that you start with. So are you going to be more damage focused or healing focused? But it's a little bit, it's really minor in that regard. But what's eventually going to happen is, right? So I'm at level 115. Now, all of a sudden, right, so between 65 and 115, we're going to have 34 more points. So if I now just start spending some skills, or spending my points, boom. Now I have Anthem Duration, I have Song of Aid, maybe I'll reduce cooldowns, crit chance of ballads. Let's do some buff potency, right? Get our Tale of Songs in melody stance. So now all of a sudden we can do some stance swapping if we wanted to. Get some more debuffs. Boom. Now I'm fully spec'd into blue, but also have everything into yellow, right? At 115, we're done. So I know from 65 that's a long ways away. That's still essentially a year away. But eventually yellow line won't be a thing anymore, and it'll just be your blue that goes into yellow or your red that goes into yellow. So that's why the legendary items get a little bit tricky. Because in yellow line, what you want, right, when you're basically focused into yellow, is you want Anthem of War Prowess, because we're going to have access to that anthem, and we want to be able to keep it up as much as we can and increase the effectiveness of it. But then we'll also want I guess be Anthem Duration, right? So we want Anthem Duration and Anthem of War Prowess, and those are the two big ones, and you want to put those on the same item. So you want to put these two, let's say, on your book. And then the reason why I talked about putting two specific traceries on a single item, right? So if we go to general damage, in red line, we still wanted minor ballad damage and piercing cry. But when we're yellow line focused, we're still going to want two other... we still need two other traceries, right? So in yellow line, you're going to still want minor ballad damage and piercing cry because you're still going to be doing damage. Or if you're like a blue line focus with yellow line, then you go into general healing and you do major ballad healing and inspire fellows healing. Because in yellow line, we're not really going to be using... Here, if I go to my actual yellow line, we're not always going to have access to... where is it? Soliloquy of Spirit, right? Because I'm in the red line focus, but we're not going to have Soliloquy of Spirit. So we don't want this tracery as part of our yellow line spec. We want the universal ones of Inspire Fellows and Major Ballad Healing. I hope that makes sense, right? So in yellow line, whether you're blue line or red line focused, and you can swap between the two quite easily because it's only a couple points, no matter which one you do, you always want Anthem duration, and you always want Anthem of War prowess. Because that's this one here, right? Even though it's technically tied to the red line tab, right, in the legendary weapon, Anthem of War prowess is right there. And we want to increase that. So no matter whether we're in blue or red, we want to increase this skill. And then we also want the anthems to just last longer, right? So you want those two traceries on the same weapon. Put them on your book. They're on your book. And then your generic red line traits, or traceries, sorry, you can do Piercing Cry and Minor Ballad. Put those on your weapon. So then when you're in red line, you have this red line weapon that has Minor Ballad damage and Piercing Cry, but then you're also going to have Call of Orm and Call of Fate. But you don't want Call of Orm and Call of Fate in yellow line, so that's why you would basically, the item that you're switching out is your book all the time. You switch out your book. Your red line, you have a red line book. Your yellow line, you have your Anthem book. Your blue line, you have your healing book. And then when you're in yellow line and you have your Anthem book, then you're swapping between, am I blue line with my two generic healing weapon traceries, or am I switching to my weapon with my two generic red line traits, right? As we level up, and this is where it gets even more complicated, as we level up, and we now get to the point, right, we're 115, still like a year away, and now we have yellow line and blue line, and we get to the point now of, at 150, you will have access to 6 traceries, right, the class traceries, on one weapon. So what you're going to want to do is, for yellow line, you're going to have your Anthem duration. You're going to have Anthem duration and Inspire. Oops, that's under general healing. Inspire Fellows healing. You're going to want you want the Anthem duration. You want Anthem of War prowess. And then you have to start kind of piecing together healing thing, or yellow line things that you'll only want in yellow, no matter if you're blue or red, if that makes sense. So other general utility things, right? Rally cooldown. So now we have 3 other things that we can use. Okay, well, the specific yellow line thing would be, right, you have another Anthem buff. Okay, now we have 2 other things. And then you can kind of, those last 2, you can kind of pick what you want. Maybe you do a damage one and a healing one. Right, we haven't reached that point. You could Cry of the Course cooldown if you wanted to. Echoes of Battle, whatever it may be. Right, we haven't got to that point. But the whole idea is that this yellow line book, you're building with these really generic things that you can, in theory, use as a blue line, or as red line. Because blue line is still going to use anthems eventually. So is red line. Rally is still going to be used as red or as blue, right? So you're going to start building towards that, and you want that on one weapon, because as a higher level cap, when we have our 6 traceries, then all of a sudden you're going to have Song of Soliloquy, Call of Alorith, Triumphant Spirit, Bolster Courage, Raise the Spirit, Inspire Fellows, right? All of these things that are more healing focused. And you don't want you don't want to split them across different items, because then you get to the point where, well, you almost either need to redo your weapons, or you're having like 8+ legendary items just to mix and match. So I'm trying to help you like set yourself up for success as the server progresses. And I hope that made sense, right? Because then in Redline we'll do like Call of the Second Age, Call of Fate, Call of Aurum, and Ballad Damage, all that stuff that you can use in Yellow Line as your Red Line spec as well. So you don't want to split those. So you have to, as a minstrel, you kind of have to really plan out your legendary weapons at this level cap, so that later it becomes much easier for yourself. If you were leveling on the normal servers, this wouldn't really matter. It's really only because of how the legendary servers are, where we're stuck at a certain level cap for so long that we have to really plan this out, so that just to make your life easier in the long run. So I hope that made sense. If you do have questions, or you want more clarifications, please leave a comment and ask me about it. Doesn't matter the video that you come across, just leave a message, leave a comment, and I will answer it for you. Because it is a bit tricky, so I hope I made that easy to understand. Alrighty, now we're getting into the gear. And the gear is, of course, essentially universal with a couple of exceptions. But the gear. So, starting with all of the Mirkwood-focused dungeons and raids. So I guess to start, blue line for healing, you will want the BG armor set. It's healing focused. I think it's what, 7.5%? Yeah, 7.5% outgoing healing modifier. So that's really important for blue line. And then also for blue line, right, we have this neck, more outgoing healing that comes from the raid. There's a necklace that's outgoing healing from the raid. There's off. Oh wait. Oh no, we don't have offhands. Never mind. That's more of a lore master thing. Whoops. So yeah. So we have this earring, this neck for more healing related things. The ring, though, is still really good for healing and damage. This bracelet is really good for healing and DPS, doesn't matter. This bracelet also technically drops in North Cotton Farms if you want something focused on vitality. This bracelet that drops from the raid as well, also just really good in both specs. Probably the best pocket item that we can get is the glass flask. There might be a healing specific one that comes from the OD raid, which we'll get into. This is just a really good ring to have. It's a lot of morale that is just good to have. This earring is just really good to have, no matter if you're healing or DPS. This comes from dungeons. This is SG or Summith Ghoul. Moving on to the In Their Absence, or the stuff that just came out about a month ago. Stoneheight, you're looking at a bracelet. There's some good boots that also come from Stoneheight. And then another earring option. Lost Temple, this is where your redline neck would come from, right? Tactical damage instead of outgoing healing. You can still use this in healing for now in case, if you can't get this raid neck, you still have a dungeon neck you can work towards. The crafted stuff is also just as good. We got a nice pair of gloves that's good for both healing and redline. That would be slightly better than the crafted stuff. But if you another option, if you're really focused on healing and you can't get this neck, also from Lost Temple is this necklace, which is, it doesn't have the outgoing healing, but it's not damage focused. It just gives you some gives you the same amount of crit, and then just gives you more will. Essentially, the star necklace will just give you more health. This will give you slightly more healing output. Sorry, Surma. Another outgoing healing ring, and a second outgoing healing ring. So if you want all that outgoing healing, there's a couple options. A more damage focused ring, a universal cloak, a really good shield to have, whether you're healing or DPS, doesn't matter. This is a really good shield. So lots of stuff from Sorry Surma. Sadly, that is I would call it the hardest dungeon that we have right now. It still needs some help, I think. So unlucky in that regard. And then from the raid itself, tier 1, you can get this ancient herb for a pocket item that does help your outgoing healing, that you can use for healing instead of the glass flask. After that, in tier 2, there's the glass talisman that can drop. I don't remember which one that drops off of. Hold on, I can look that up for you. Raid loot. So the herb comes from Ivar tier 1, and then the other pocket item is it? Oh, it is. Yeah, that sucks. The pocket item is the Wound Wing tier 2, which is a bit of a mess as well right now. So this is still really good for outgoing healing. It's basically just the differences between these two is that you're getting more incoming healing, or outgoing healing rather, and slightly more mitigations and crit. You're just losing out on morale. So it's not like it's a bad choice at all, because has more healing output. And then a good universal cloak would just be this is tier 2 from Gorthron. It's a good cloak, but that is the gear. So I hope you found this video helpful. The biggest tip I can give for Minstrel is really just planning your legendary weapons accordingly for the future. You don't want to split your universal and spec specific traceries across different weapons. You want to organize them. Normally I wouldn't bother mentioning that, but Minstrel is just one of those unique scenarios where if you can organize them better, it'll set you up for success in the future as the level cap increases. Other quick tips is just Minstrel's utility is Minstrel's strength and utility is based around some healing while moving, right? So our Major Ballad, we can move and spam it. Low cooldown, spam it. And it's AoE, right? It's a quick little AoE burst, essentially. I mean, it's almost sustained for how much you can spam it. Song of Soliloquy, great single target spell, and we can use that while on the move, and it's a hot, right? And then Perfect Ending, we can also use on the move. So we're taking a bunch of damage, we're dodging mechanics, but we can still target and heal people as things go on. And then we also have Court of Salvation, right, that we can also use while moving. So now all of a sudden we have 3 to 4 skills that we can relatively spam just to help maintain some nice heals. Our biggest heals, of course, we do have to plan. But that's the strength of Minstrel. A lot of AoE and use while moving kind of stuff, right? I mean, Triumphant Spirit we can also use while on the move. It's just on a longer cooldown because it's like an emergency button. But it's there. Legend of Helm Hammerhand we can also use on the move, right? So that's kind of the strength of Minstrel that you can use to your advantage. Same kind of thing in Redline. Nothing, you don't have to, you're not casting anything in Redline. It's all instant use abilities. So use that to your advantage. Yeah, so that will conclude the Minstrel guide. I thank you very much for watching. If you found it helpful, if you enjoyed it, leave a like, leave a comment. There's been a couple of you that have been joining the Discord, which I appreciate, joining the community. It's always nice to see. And if you do join the Discord and pop in and be a part of the community, you can always ask questions about classes and stuff like that I will always answer, and I'll answer them quicker. But if you don't want to and you still want to ask questions on the video itself, that's fine too. I always read the comments and answer them when I'm able to. Next on the list, I think I'll do Hunter. Either Hunter or another one of these higher level classes with Burglar or Warden or something like that. But yeah, thanks for coming by, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.